Testing microphone. So, ladies and gentlemen, I know that you can hear an echo right now. It's because I'm actually trying to find a good balance of my microphone volume. So it's probably going all over the shot right now, and you can hear me, and I can hear me, which is always good. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, we're back once again. Now, the race is going to be a little bit delayed this time round because we're waiting for Chill's F1. In fact, he's in, ladies and gentlemen. He's just joined, so I'm sure everyone will be readying up right now. All Chills has to do is pick his car, and then we're good to go. I do apologise, ladies and gentlemen. I just have to go for a second. Ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Only 10 seconds until we start the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix qualifying. We have an entire grid today, and it is going to be a mega one. I was supposed to be joined, as always, alongside Dark Inferno, who races in Tier 1, joins me in the commentary box for the Sunday 8 PM Tier 2 races, but unfortunately, he's unable to make it today. And then, I was actually going to get Oda to join me for the commentary, but he was unsure whether he could arrive or not, and unfortunately it doesn't seem like he can make it. I'm checking my messages all the time to see whether Oda's able to make qualifying, but unfortunately not today, ladies and gentlemen. So it is just going to be me, which is a bit ironic, really, because it was PJ on his own for the race on Thursday, and if you didn't catch that race on Thursday, it was an absolute wild one. The amount of incident reports that poor Dark Inferno and all of our members of the FIA have had to sort through after that race was incredible. But as a commentator, well, I was actually a participator and a racer on Thursday, so obviously you've got to tune into that race. It was a mad one, but honestly, it was a crazy race, and you have to watch it because you really do not want to miss out. But like I was going to say, I do love a few collisions, a bit of drama in the race chat, and if you're a fan of that as well, then honestly, that race that happened only a few days ago will be right down your alley. But even so, here we are in Jeddah once again for the second time this week, and this is the final race before our Christmas break until we join you once again in January for the second half of the VFL season. But enough of that, let's focus on the race right here. Few drivers already leaving the pits. And what can I say, ladies and gentlemen? This is it, the final race of the first half before our mid-season break of the Tier 2 of the Virtual Formula League. Coming at you live at 8 o'clock every Sunday. Greenwich Mean Time, of course. And we've only got 17 minutes left of qualifying. We have, as I just said, a few drivers leaving the pits fairly early. One of them being the Aston Martin of ALB, who we're following right now. But something of note, the two Ferrari boys, it will be interesting to spectate them. I almost kind of missed out on their qualifying performances. They're actually coming out behind one each other, which is extremely interesting. The reason why I mention is because they are absolutely killing it right now. we have Poppy 1195 in P1 of the Drivers' Championship, and his Ferrari teammate is just behind him. And Ferrari, I predict that they're going to dominate this Constructors' Championship, in all honesty, because both drivers are absolutely ahead of the game, and without a doubt, whether they like it or not, ladies and gentlemen, they are getting moved up to Tier 1 next season, because they've just been in a league of their own so far. And it's interesting to see Poppy and MOC both lead the pits at the same time. And I was actually thinking for a while then, they might have gone for a bit of a slipstream down the back straight, but Poppy seems to have pulled away from his teammate a little bit. But he's the first driver, I do believe, or at least one of the first drivers, to start a flying lap. We also have a Haas, an Alpine, and a few other drivers right there. Poppy lets through Boom Boy Fries, but he does regain the lead. And he gets clean air for his flying lap, so it'll be brilliant to analyse it. As we just sit down and analyse Poppy 1195's flying lap straight away into turn 1 and 2, and he hits it very well. It's a little bit slow on the exit to repair. You should be right up to that exit curb, but he was right bang in the middle of the track. He cuts the inside of turn 4, as you should, because the track limits are not enforced on that corner, and he's a little bit slow around that double apex left-hander, but he does hug the right-hander and stays within the track limits on that incredibly tough exit. As you're on that DRS straight, heading to the banked hairpin, and it is a mega corner this. You've got so many different lines. You can either go deep on the brakes and hug an outside line, or early on the brakes hug an inside line, and that's exactly what Poppy 1195 does. As he goes through the first of 2 sets of chicanes, and it's pretty much perfect here, ladies and gentlemen. This may even be close to the Sick Boy Super Lap, which is just shy of a 127, I do believe. I'm going to check my phone. Even so, he just dives into the second set of chicanes, and it is honestly perfect for Poppy. This is a faultless lap at the moment, apart from just a bit of a poor exit from turn 2, but I'm sure no one is going to catch Poppy 1195. This is going to be the lap that puts him on pole for the rest of the qualifying session. ALB sits at 129.7, or just over. It'll be interesting to see what Poppy does. How much is he going to destroy it? And he does, ladies and gentlemen. A128.4, or just shy of. And that is almost 1.3 seconds faster than ALB, and almost 1.5 seconds faster than his teammate MOC, who has actually managed to set a P4 lap time now, as Nice Job Mate in the Mercedes has set a 128.9, which is actually fairly close to Poppy. It's still a 7/10 of a second gap, but that is a decent result from Nice Job Mate. There's a bit of a rivalry ever since that first round in Silverstone between Phil Donald, in fact, and Poppy 1195. I'm not too sure what I'm talking about, comparing Phil Donald to Nice Job Mate. And that's another thing. Phil Donald, ladies and gentlemen, is unfortunately unable to make it. He's been replaced by Chills F1, who's normally a Tier 1 reserve, but this time he's filling in for Phil Donald, and he's just set a 140.9, just shy of a 141 on mediums. And I was going to say that that's a pretty decent lap because it popped him in P7, but you've got to realise that there's an 11-second gap between him and MOC LFC. I'm sure that was just a banker. As we follow him right now through the first sector, and it is quite slow. And, he did extend the track limits just slightly outside that left-hander, but it doesn't matter. In fact, I don't know what I'm talking about, ladies and gentlemen. I just said it was a slow first sector, but he set purple. Going around the banked hairpin right now, and it was a pretty decent exit. There was no oversteer whatsoever as he approaches the first of the 2 chicanes. And I think that Chills F1 right now is just going a little bit slow and making sure he doesn't invalidate his lap as he approaches the second of those 2 chicanes right now. Let's see if he can be nice and square on the entry. And he is. It's a little bit slow, I must admit. And it is quite slow in that second sector. It wasn't a purple this time round. But give credit where credit is due, ladies and gentlemen. He's on the median compound right now, and if he can get anywhere near Poppy's incredible lap time of a 128.3, then we're definitely in for something. Chills F1 going around the final turn, turn 27, hitting the DRS as early as possible. He isn't hugging the inside line, but it doesn't matter. It's a 131.2, or just shy of, for Chills F1, and that puts him in P12 right now. But since he's almost an entire second shy of Steph 1210's position in P12, I'm sure Chills F1, unless he can improve, will tumble down the standings. And ladies and gentlemen, this qualifying session is really shaping up to be a good one. I keep on talking about how Poppy 1195 has just set pole position, but Scruff's come in there and completely destroyed it. He sets a 127.7, which is almost 6/10 of a second faster. In fact, I think it's just over 6/10 of a second faster than Poppy 1195's time, and Scruff really has been breaking all expectations recently. I believe he's gotten a podium for Alfa Romeo, and now maybe even a pole position. He's on provisional pole right now by such a massive margin. Like I said, 6/10 of a second. I will be surprised if that gets beaten. But then again, I said I'd be surprised if Poppy's time was beaten, and it was. I think the best driver right now to follow may be maybe Tom Taylor, ladies and gentlemen. He's approaching turn 27 right now, and he's just seen his Alfa Romeo teammate, and I am the team principal for Alfa Romeo. So it'll be interesting to see how these drivers, my drivers, can perform. But as I was saying, he's just seen, unfortunately, he's just dived into the pits. I think Kevin Kearney's a good driver. Kevin Kearney just crosses the line. Maybe ALB right now. Has he just finished a flying lap? In fact, he's just started a flying lap on 1 lap old soft, so it'll be interesting to see. But what I was going to say is that Tom Taylor has just seen his Alfa Romeo teammate on provisional pole, and I'm sure he will be nervous to try and beat him. He'll be excited and ready to try and beat Scruff, or at least improve on his current time of a 129.2, or just slower than a 129.2. And ALB invalidates on the exit of, I believe that was either turn 7 or turn 8. I'm terrible at the corner numbers in Jeddah, ladies and gentlemen, but it doesn't matter. You saw it, I saw it. He's invalidated his lap on the exit of that fast right-hander, and it's a tough corner to get right. In fact, the whole of the first sector is incredibly difficult to string together. It requires such perfection. We have Chills F1 on a flying lap, but he's on his old mediums again, which is interesting. I'm surprised he hasn't popped on a set of softs and has tried to beat his previous time. Even so, we're on MOC right now, and he's gone for a very wide line across the start-finish line to really maximise the amount of time that he's in a straight line. But it doesn't matter, ladies and gentlemen. He gets a huge snap of oversteer coming out of turn 2 and quickly abandons his lap. Man, ALB likely will be diving into the pits, especially after knocking his front wing. Kevin Kearney's on quite old tyres, so he'll be jumping into the pits. How about the United 199? He's going around turn 27 right now, and he is in fact on a flying lap. It'll be interesting to see how well he can perform, and it's a brilliant lap for him, a 129.2, or just shy of, and that puts him only a few milliseconds above his Williams teammate JKS Racing in P7, and that means JKS will be an entire row of the grid behind his Williams teammate. Let's see right now if JKS can answer back to the United 199's provisional 6th position. He's on a flying lap right now, ladies and gentlemen, and it's an incredibly clean turn 1 and turn 2 chicane. And unlike, as I said about Poppy, this time it was an incredible exit out turn 2. A lot of acceleration, and that really did shuttle him around this double apex left-hander. And he doesn't run too wide on that right-hander. And that just means that that first sector was stringed together fairly well. In all honesty, it was a little bit slow. He was gearing down quite often and in the low rev, kind of low on the revs, but it doesn't matter. Still a very good first sector. So he hugs the kind of the slight banking of this really long, twisty straight. He's on the first of the 2. Oh wow, that was well caught from JKS there. The first of the 2 chicanes on the back straight, and he got a snap of oversteer on the exit of that chicane, but he did manage to catch it. In fact, he didn't damage his wing or lose the car, but he must have lost some time. And he did extend track limits just slightly throughout that second of the 2 chicanes on the back straight, but it doesn't matter. His lap time hasn't been invalidated, and he's pushing right until the very end. Turn 27, he hits the apex well. He's early on the power, and this could be a worlder of a lap from JKS Racing, but he's dived into the pits. I'm not too sure if he did invalidate the lap and it didn't show up on my mini-map for some reason, but some reason, JKS has abandoned what I thought was a record-breaking lap around the Jeddah Corniche circuit. I'm not too sure what he's doing, but let's not question JKS. He's just set a great lap, or what would have been a great lap. But yeah, I'm really unsure why he dived into the pits there. It could have been that it was actually slower than his previous lap, but it looked pretty darn perfect to me. But I think that every lap around Jeddah kind of looks perfect. It's just one of those tracks in which, you know, the action just looks absolutely incredible. As we're on board with Chills F1, and he almost got in the way of Boomboy Fries there on his flying lap. It doesn't matter, Boomboy Fries is in the pits. But Chills F1 did move out of the way, which is good to see. We don't want anybody getting qualifying bans or even grid penalties during the race, and we definitely don't want to see any drivers getting grid penalties after the race. Because recently we've seen a lot of drivers submit incident reports of other drivers getting in their way, like during qualifying, and that kind of leads to penalty points and time penalties, and it's definitely not good. But on board with Chills F1, he is very slow around that final corner of that twisty section, because he just doesn't want to invalidate. But apart from that, he was pretty decent first sector for him, as he goes round the banked hairpin right now, and he hits the apex quite well. He's early on the power, and he's now heading towards the first of the two chicanes. He's nice and straight on the entrance, and that allows him to brake incredibly late and get a great exit. But unfortunately, it was a bit too good of an exit. I think he gave it a bit too much welly out on that exit, approached the wall, had to back out, and eased off, and he's going to be suffering all the way down the straight after having backed out. And once again, we've seen two drivers now actually almost cut the second turn of the second chicane of the back straight. They at least run on the curves. All four wheels are off the white line, but they don't invalidate their lap. I'm sure Chills isn't going to be bothered at all, because that allowed him to save a ton of time, I'm sure. He's early on the power outside of turn 27. It looks like a great lap, in all honesty. And it is. That puts him in P7 with a 129.051, only 2 milliseconds behind the Haas driver of Tristan. And I believe he's going to be starting a flying lap right now as he turns around turn 27. And he's hoping to get a cheeky slipstream from Tom Taylor. In fact, he's just dived into the pits with only 4 minutes left. He better hurry up. And he's on fresh tyres. He must have knocked his wing, because otherwise you must be balmy to dive into the pits right now. Even so, Tom Taylor, going round turn 2, he's just started a flying lap, but he's abandoned it already. Not too sure if it was a poor exit or anything, but he's going to have to lap the whole track again, and it's a long one. Second longest track on the F1 calendar. And he's only got less than 4 minutes of qualifying left. And that'll allow him to do, I imagine, 2 flying laps before the end. And I'm just checking what his tyres are on right now, and he is on 2-lap-old tyres, so not good for Tom Taylor. I'm not too sure if he's actually going to be able to beat his current fastest lap time of a 128.5 or just far slower than that. Even so, let's not worry about that. Let's worry about Poppy 1195. You know that lap that I was talking about, that record-breaking 128.3? Well, it doesn't matter, because it's put Poppy all the way down into P4. We've only got just shy of 3 minutes left in qualifying, and Poppy is desperate to make a statement and reclaim that pole position off Scruff. And it seems like a pretty strong first sector. It isn't fastest, because the sector 1 hasn't flashed purple even, ladies and gentlemen, but it doesn't matter. He's gone round that banked hairpin, and it was a decent exit, but it was kind of rubbing the walls. And let's hope that didn't slow him down. It's a pretty good first chicane. I think it's all about that second chicane. A lot of drivers have been running wide on the exit of the second chicane, running off the white line, but their laps haven't been invalidated. Let's see if Poppy 1195 does that trick. And he does. Look, there must be a glitch with my game or something. I definitely did put it on strict corner cut, and I'm just trying to think. But that was a massive cut of that turn, and it hasn't invalidated his lap whatsoever. I hope I didn't accidentally put it on regular, but we just see the carcass there. Did you see that? Of the McLaren of Eisenman 035. He's DNF'd on the exit turn 27. And ladies and gentlemen, what is it today with drivers abandoning their laps after an incredible lap and diving into the pits? I think that's qualifying over for Poppy 1195. I'm not too sure whether they've received wing damage due to a knock on the wall, or whether their lap times are being invalidated and it's just not showing up on my mini-map. However, Poppy 1195 has dived into the pits with only 1.5 minutes left of qualifying, and that's his qualifying over. Without a doubt, he isn't going to be able to get back around the track, and that's a P5 start for Poppy, because Kevin Kearney, out of nowhere, with barely any time left in qualifying whatsoever, pops a P2 with a 128.2, 52. And that's a brilliant lap for Kevin Kearney, just kind of out of nowhere. I wasn't following his lap, unfortunately, but yeah, that is a shocker. And his Red Bull teammate is Steph 1210, the Tier 1 driver who's on the wheel, practicing the wheel in these Tier 2 races. He seems to be battling with Chills F1 right now through that banked hairpin. He's all the way down in 15th, so let's hope if he can kind of improve his lap time. He's definitely being generous on the track limits, because I think he's a bit worried about how much time's left in qualifying. He's barely around the second sector, and I think there's only about 30 or 40 seconds. I can't see at the moment because of the yellow flags being waved. So it'll be interesting to see what can happen. Right now we have Nice Job Mate in P3, and just ahead of him, I believe, is MOC. It sure is. And in fact, let's follow MOC. He's 0.8 of a second up on his previous lap time, or at least his best lap time. That will set him a 129.1, which will pop him all the way up into P3. I'm not too sure what happened right there. Yeah, a 129.2, but it won't pop him up into P3. I'm not too sure what I'm talking about today, ladies and gentlemen. Is that qualifying over for Chills F1? It says that his lap time's been invalidated on the mini-map, and he's pretty slow round turn 2, so I think his lap time has been invalidated or something. I'm not too sure, ladies and gentlemen, but Boom Boy fries, and in fact MOC has just binned it. Pudnick picks up a 5-place grid penalty due to a collision with MOC, and this is all kind of heating up right now. It doesn't really matter for Pudnick. He's in P19 anyway, so if anything, that's the best time to get a grid penalty. But MOC, he finished a flying lap, so it didn't really ruin his qualifying because he was on destroyed softs as it was. But anyway, Pudnick disqualified from session, it doesn't really matter. But yeah, contact between MOC and Pudnick. MOC's retired from the race. Boom Boy Fries DNF a minute ago, and Scruff's just set an even faster time by 1/10 of a second. Not too sure why Scruff did that. He had provisional pole anyway, but it's pretty much guaranteed pole right now. The only two drivers that can surely beat him. I mean, Nice Job Mate's abandoned his lap. JDM's 10 seconds off, and that's it for qualifying. As the last two cars cross the finish line, it will be the Alfa Romeo of Scruff on pole position. And shocker of the session, really, Kevin Kearney in the Red Bull has popped a P2, but he's still 0.6 of a second, over 0.6 of a second, slower than Scruff. That's just how much of a league of his own Scruff is. I was messaging Tom Taylor earlier, his Alfa Romeo teammate, and he said to me that Scruff is feeling confident for this Jeddah race. He says it's one of his favourite tracks, and I can see why, ladies and gentlemen. 0.6 of a second faster than the P2 driver, Kevin Kearney, who, what can I say, sets a P2. Nice job, mate. And JDM line up on the second row. P3 and P4. And Poppy. And that's another surprise. That unbeatable lap that I was talking about at the start of the session, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, who cares? He's in P5 right now, alongside Tom Taylor in P6, and it's a pretty good qualifying result for Tom Taylor. Tristan and the United 199 line up on the fourth row of the grid, P7 and P8. And our newest driver, VPG Aiden, he's a reserve for Tier 2. I believe he must have just joined the the Discord server a few days ago, because it's the first time I've seen him in a race. He lines up P9 alongside Chills F1 in P10. We have JKS Racing and MOC LFC in P11 and 12, and that is a shocking, I say it in the nicest way, but it's a very surprising qualifying session from MOC. He's actually second in the Drivers' Championship, and he's an incredible driver, but he's all the way down in P12, which is surprising. And unfortunately, JKS Racing is in P11. And that's interesting because Williams, I do believe, are actually P2 in the constructors' standings right now. It's not a good qualifying result for them, P8 and P11. Even so, ALB is in P13 in the Aston Martin, Boomboy Fries, P14, Eisenman and Seth, the two Germans, on the 8th row of the grid in P15 and 16. And unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, I was talking about Steph so much, I wasn't able to run down the rest of the grid. So we're just going to have to guess. That is unfortunate. I know that Pudnick is definitely last. He qualified P19 and unfortunately received a 5-place grid penalty after a collision with MOC LFC. And that's put him on the back of the grid. But worry not, because it's a perfect opportunity to really show off your talents as a driver and go for a bit of a last at first. It'll be interesting to see how well Pudnick can perform. And he has kind of pulled out these really shocking results out of the bag. Remember Azerbaijan, everyone? Pudnick was like 40 seconds behind the safety car at one point. Late safety car was called. Pudnick catches up. He finishes like P4 or something. I'm probably making up that ending position, but I do know that Pudnick did a brilliant result after being such a length behind the rest of the pack out of nowhere. So my money's on Pudnick to definitely finish in the top 10. But it's not only the top 10 that score points in this league. All 20 drivers score points. Even 20th position gets a single point, all the way up to P1, who get 26 points in this championship. But remember, Scott's already taken 1 point home for pole position, and another 2 points are at stake for fastest lap. So it'll be interesting to see if any drivers go for an alternate strategy, perhaps a soft, medium, soft 2-stop, or my money is on all the drivers that are starting on mediums to set or at least set a fastest lap towards the end of the session and claim those 2 points. And because there's only like a 1 point gap between most of the grid, those 2 points are going to mean a lot. But there's drama already, ladies and gentlemen. On the warm-up lap, Eisenman 0.35 and Steph 12.10 make contact during the formation lap. Fortunately, I'm not able to spectate them, just sitting there with their tyres getting cold. But that's exactly what's going to happen, especially so early into the warm-up lap. Both of those drivers' tyres are going to be ice cold, and that just means one thing. They're going to go straight, like Lewis Hamilton did in Azerbaijan. Due to cold tyres, obviously his were due to brakes, but even so, they are not going to be able to turn on those tyres. And we may even see an early incident. It means that both drivers are going to have to be incredibly cautious into turn 1 and brake extremely early. Even so, you know what I'm going to say next, and I know that you guys are desperate to find out. It's who's starting on the mediums. Of course, the top 10 are all starting on softs. And right now, Chills F1 looks like he's in the worst position of the grid. P10, in my opinion, is the worst position of the grid. I'd much rather be in P11 any day with fresh tyres. But it doesn't matter. For some reason, it says that all of the tyres of the top 10 are on like 0 laps, but they are warm. And there's another collision between JKS Racing and ALV. Not too sure how MOC LFC hasn't been taken out. He's sandwiched in between them. But they're also going to be starting on the grid. Hopefully their tyres are a bit warmer than Eisenman and Steph's. Even so, the 6 drivers who are starting on mediums today are ALB in the Aston Martin, Boomboy Fires in the Alpine, Eisenman in the Orange Papaya McLaren, and the 3 of the 4 lowest drivers on the grid. We have Gooders and Infamous Aim on the 9th row of the grid, and MF Underboss also in the McLaren, starting on the medium tyres. So it'll be incredibly interesting to see what will happen. But I think the driver I'm going to spectate first is Chills F1. He's been giving it large all day about how good he is at F1 starts and how he's going to kind of take everybody out. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. So he's got his TV time. So let's see how well he starts with the cameras on him. And ladies and gentlemen, the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix is underway, and it's wheel spin for Chills. But who cares, because it's been an incredible start right now. Nice Job Mate has taken the lead of the race from Scruff. Incredible start for Nice Job Mate. He started P3 and he's already led the race after 2 turns. Kevin Kearney in P3. It's incredibly tight all the way down, to be honest. Chills F1 has ended up gaining 2 positions, going incredibly cautious through that first sector. The 2 Alpha Tauris are now side by side. And not a good start for Steph. He's all the way down in P18. It must have been those ice-cold tyres. But Eisenman's in P15, so maybe it's something else. Even so, the 2 Alpha Tauris are side by side, heading into the hairpin. And Tom Taylor's been turned around. Heartbreak for Tom Taylor again. Honestly, I don't think he's completed a single race without being turned around. He needs to be very careful right now on these hards, and I'm talking directly to him. He needs to be cautious, especially around this chicane, on his really hot tyres. Sorry that I said hards, The mind is swimming. Scruff's retaken the lead, heading into the second set of chicanes. And it's such a long straight that. No DRS. I'm sure Scruff's gone for the low downforce setup. And he's caught out Nice Job Mate. There's almost a 1 second gap between Nice Job Mate and Kevin Kearney now. But yeah, as I was saying about Tom Taylor, he's now last on the grid. And MF Underboss has already DNF. And lucky for ghosting, I thought Pudnick was about to go right into the back of him. But that is a virtual safety car on lap 1 already. Not too sure what happened to the papaya orange car of MF Underboss. However, Poppy 1195 has just made a collision. I just saw him tumbling down. I just saw him tumbling down the standings. I'm not too sure what happened, but it looked like around turn 27 he was turned around. He's lost about 5 positions. Chills F1's dive into the pits already. Not too sure who else has. Honestly, so has Aiden and Tom Taylor as well. Has Tom Taylor got wing damage, or is he using this opportunity to try and get back? He doesn't have wing damage, ladies and gentlemen. So we have 3 drivers going for the 2-stop strategy because they've all... Oh dear, ladies and gentlemen. They've all gone on mediums. We'll address the drive-through in a minute. The virtual safety car has ended. But as I was going to say, we have 3 drivers who are going for the 2-stop. They've picked for the mediums on lap 2. And those mediums aren't going to last. So I think they're banking on a late safety car. But yeah, 3 drivers of VPG Aiden, Chills F1 and Tom Taylor 07. Talking about VPG Aiden, he's just received a drive-through penalty for speeding under virtual safety car. And ALB's got a 3-second time penalty for multiple track infringements. Kevin Kearney has ghosted. I believe that may be due to lag, but he's being kind of eaten up by the pack right now. He's just been overtaken by Tristan and United 99. I do feel for Kevin Kearney. I'm not too sure if he's in the Discord chat and wants an invite or anything. However, it doesn't matter. Even so, news on Pudnick and the qualifying position. Ladies and gentlemen, we actually have dark right now. So, first of all, there's contact around turn 27. Boomboy Fries has just clattered his wing. Let's see if he dives into the pits. But he doesn't. Obviously, he didn't take any damage. United 199 is just overtaking Tristan for P3. Poppy and Eisenman are going side by side. In fact, ALB and Boomboy Fries are going side by side into turn 1, but it isn't enough. Even so, Eisenman and Poppy are going side by side. Oh dear, and Chills F1 has obviously overtaken Aiden, who is serving his pit stop, his drive-through. Oh dear, ladies and gentlemen, my commentary has been awful today. Side by side, Eisenman and Poppy side by side through sector 1. You don't want to be going side by side there, ladies and gentlemen, but it doesn't matter. Poppy 1195, our current leader of the championship, is all the way down in P12, and Eisenman is squeezing him on the inside wall a little bit. But luckily, Poppy does go through, and there's a yellow flag, sector 2, and it's Boomboy Fries around that banked chicane, and he just isn't able to turn around right now without clattering his wing. But in heartbreak for Boomboy Fries, he's all the way down into P16, and Chills F1's overtaken him. Even so, I'm having news from the FIA. Dark Inferno is acting as a live FIA, and JDM may receive a 13-second time penalty and 5 penalty points for a collision with, it was a grid penalty and illegally blocking Pudnick. So that's extremely interesting. I believe that was during the qualifying, but that will have further investigation. That's just speculation from the stewards right now. And Tristan, there's overtakes left and right, side by side of JDM and Tristan into turn 1 and 2, and it's extremely clean. JDM gets away, but Nice Job Mate has taken the lead once again. And there's carnage. It's Chills F1. He's spun around turn 27, and he's doing an 80-point turn right now, trying to get back onto the track. Not too sure if he's damaged his wing, but due to his hard tyres, he's just clattered his wing again. That might be damage, and in fact, he's diving right into the pits. He's lost his wing. He's going to be popping on the hards, I imagine, for the rest of the race. That's heartbreak for Chills F1. But all eyes right now are on Nice Job Mate. There's been side-by-side action between Nice Job Mate and Scruff. And unfortunately, we kind of forgotten to kind of give it coverage. It's just been such carnage up and down the grid. But Nice Job Mate and Scruff, yeah, they've unfortunately they've been, I don't know what I'm talking about, ladies and gentlemen. They've been swapping positions all Grand Prix, and Nice Job Mate is the driver who takes the lead of the race. But Scruff, on the lead down into turn 27. He's popped the DRS. He's on the outside of Nice Job Mate. And Nice Job Mate, he isn't going for the dive bomb on the inside. He's just let Scruff through. But that means he's going to get DRS on Scruff heading into turn 1. But will it be enough for Nice Job Mate? And it is. He's ahead of him before the start-finish line, ladies and gentlemen. That was tactical from Nice Job Mate. I think he almost let Scruff have the position. You don't want to take a position in turn 27 because you just know that you're going to lose it once again heading into turn 1, and you don't want to be behind someone through sector 1 with all that dirty air. There's a bit of contact between Gooders and Eisenman, and Eisenman's been forced to let Gooders through because probably due to an illegal overtake, and it's absolute carnage. They're like 3 wide into turn 4. I wouldn't recommend that. Kevin Kearney backs out of both positions. ALB gets another 3-second time penalty. Let's quickly pan over to penalties. Yeah, in fact, Poppy 1195 gets a 3-second time penalty. Not a good race for our championship leader. But yeah, as I was saying, bit of contact between Eisenman and Gooders, but it looked to me like Gooders had kind of squeezed Eisenman into cutting the corner. And Eisenman's completely lost it on the inside curb of turn 27. This is what I've warned a few of the drivers that I was trying to kind of coach earlier on in the day. You do not go on the curb of turn 27. Honestly, guys, I actually think I've got something wrong with me today. It's that banked hairpin. I believe it's like turn 13. I'm just going to quickly check. But he was on the inside curb and he's oversteered, lost the rear, and it's heartbreak. Chills F1 gets a time penalty. However, I'm just quickly going to check the corner numbers because, ladies and gentlemen, I really do need to get this right. Turn 13. There we go. He's lost it on turn 13, that banked hairpin, and it's heartbreak for... What was that? I don't even know what driver lost it. Eisenman, that was it. Honestly, ladies and gentlemen, this may just be the worst commentary you've ever heard. Scruff, he gains the lead once again from Nice Job Mate, and I'm going to have to follow these guys on their battle throughout the race because they've just been swapping positions. I actually reckon they've swapped positions every lap because it's really tight between these two drivers and they are really fighting for P1, but there's not much of a gap between P1 and P2 in VFL. Normally there's a 7-point gap. I think in VFL there's a 4-point gap. P2 gets 22 points, P1 gets 26. So really I'd be fighting over the fastest lap if I was them. United 199, 3 seconds behind, but it's a great kind of result for United 199. Didn't he start in P9 for Williams? And he's all the way up into P3, so what a start. But Tristan's all over his rear right now, 0.2 of a second, heading into this second set of chicanes on this back straight. And in fact, I believe that's Pudnick in the wall, and it is, unfortunately, heartbreak for Pudnick once again. I think he's either damaged his wing or something. He's got 3-second time penalty, I know that. But, yeah, not good for Pudnick. Even so, I think all eyes are on Tristan right now. Is he able to overtake the United 199? It's a poor exit from turn 27 for Tristan, and a great exit for United 199. And I tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, it isn't enough. Tristan, nah, it's just too big of a gap. He cannot overtake United 199. And remember, he's got a 3-second time penalty, so unless he kind of pressures United 99 into getting a penalty, Tristan is going to be actually behind JKS Racing. And again, the two Williams drivers. In fact, Tristan's just made a mistake on the exit turn 4, and JKS has tried to overtake him through the first sector, and he's picked up a 3-second time penalty and hit his wing in doing so. I'm not too sure whether that was a mistake from JKS or whether that was Tristan's fault. It didn't look like Tristan's fault. It looked like JKS was just kind of poorly positioned through sector 1. You really don't want to be trying to attempt an overtake through sector 1. But, yeah, Tristan is actually losing time to the United 199 in P3. United has actually almost pulled out an entire second. And it's a close battle between these three drivers. But there's a massive gap between our two front runners and the United 199 in P3, almost a 4-second gap. And at the moment, Nice Job Mate's actually been struggling to overtake Scruff. I think Scruff's held that lead now for a couple of laps. And he still isn't going to be able to make a move into turn 27. But he's right up on the back of Scruff right now, on the exit turn 27, and he gets a perfect exit. Ladies and gentlemen, this is an overtake if I've ever seen it. Scruff isn't using hers, and let's be honest, Nice Job Mate isn't either, because he's already overtaken before the start-finish line. That is an easy overtake for Nice Job Mate. and he regains the lead. JKS, he isn't going to make an overtake on Tristan. He does yield. And JDM is actually kind of side by side with Steph right now, going into turn 27. Be interesting to see what happens. Steph gets a much better exit. But it doesn't matter. JDM's got the DRS, and Steph, not too sure what he's doing. I think he faked trying to go into the pits. He almost picked up a 3-second time penalty in doing so. Oh dear, even so. Boomboy Fries is on the back of Eisenman. Let's see if he's able to overtake, and it's an easy overtake. But man, this has been carnage, and luckily the gaps between the drivers are kind of stretching out a little bit right now. Steph has received the 3-second time penalty. You see, normally Steph always he's kind of penalty free on most tracks. But if you rewind to Thursday, he actually picked up quite a few penalties around Jeddah. I think it's just such a tough track for track infringements, and given credit, he is on the wheel. He doesn't have a lot of practice on the wheel, so that's probably why. But yeah, 3-second time penalty for Steph, and it's a 3-second time penalty for Eisenman as well, down in P16. But it doesn't matter. Scruff regains the lead of the race over Nice Job Mate into turn 27. But in all honesty, I'm not too sure why Scruff did that. Because Nice Job Mate's got the DRS. He's overtaken him before the start-finish line. And he's going to regain the lead. And if I was Scruff right now, and he is my driver, so I'm allowed to give him advice, I would not go for the overtake into turn 27. I would wait, I would ease off. I would wait until you get DRS on the start-finish line, and I would overtake him before. Because let's say you're behind Nice Job Mate through turn 27. It doesn't matter. If anything, you can take a better exit. You're not losing any time. But being behind Nice Job Mate through Sector 1, you don't want that to happen, ladies and gentlemen. The amount of dirty air you're going to be having through Sector 1. It's not necessarily that it will slow Scruff down. What I'm worried about is the fact that Scruff will actually run wide and get time penalties. Ladies and gentlemen, the United 199, he was in P3, but he's just lost it around turn 13, and he's been overtaken by his Williams teammate and MOC LFC. He's now down into P5. And I was about to say, it's a brilliant result so far, a brilliant redemption for Williams throughout this race. They had a poor qualifying. JKS has done very well. He's up into P3, and United one was on the podium for quite a while. He's all the way down into P6 now. Tristan's picked him, but he hasn't got any time penalties. Hang on, there's a bit of a carnage around turn 13, and it is Eisenman. He's lost it once again around turn 13. He's down into P17. And Chills F1, yeah, as I predicted quite a while ago after his knock, he's pit for hards, and he's now 25 seconds behind the rest of the pack. Scruff, ladies and gentlemen, Scruff and Nice Job Mate are the first two drivers in the pits. Nice Job Mate's obviously gone on the medium, so has Scruff. And that's very interesting. Lap 10, the first of the drivers in the pits. Let's see when JKS pits, because it may actually be beneficial for him to stay out for a little bit in the clean air. Let's hope if his tyre wear doesn't affect him. And I think JKS may have qualified outside of the top 10. So he's going to be on fresher tyres than the rest of them if that is the case. Even so, a lot of drivers are heading into the pitch right now. ALB has gone on hards, interestingly, for the next 15 laps. The mediums do last a really long time around Jeddah. So I'm not too sure why he's gone on the hards. He might have started on the mediums. You never know. But yeah, so Nice Job Mate and Scruff. They've come out P5 and 6. It's very useful for the future. But yeah, Poppy right now is the driver that really can kind of play it a bit tactically. You've got MOC in P2. Should Poppy be a good teammate and kind of back Nice Job Mate and Scruff and slow them down a little bit, allowing MOC to pull ahead, box, and maybe even come out ahead of the two drivers? Or will Poppy, knowing that he's actually in a championship battle with MOC, let them through? Well, right now it seems like MOC, he's just been overtaken by the United 199. We'll pan over to which tyres they're on. Let's see who dives into the pits. JKS is in the pits. United 199, heartbreak for the United 199. He's dived into the pits, and MOC hasn't. The reason why I say heartbreak, ladies and gentlemen, is I believe they're going to double stack, and the United 199 is going to lose a hell of a lot of time. Let's see how much that double stack affects him. Oh no. Oh no. JKS has gone for a brand new front wing, and that's meant that United 199 has had to wait even longer behind his teammate. And they just don't know what tyres they're getting on. It's taken ages for them to get the right set of mediums. And that is a long pit stop. That was about 10 to 15 seconds in the box for the United 199. That's heartbreak. And that's put him all the way down into P9. He should have stayed out for one more lap. Did he know that JKS was in the pits? That's the question. He would have gotten a notification on the top of his screen. Honestly, I'm not too sure whether that was a mistake from the United 199 or whether he thought he could pull off the double stack. There's a virtual safety car. Ladies and gentlemen, I do apologise for not covering it. Eisenman's been given another penalty. I think, oh no, Aiden was given the first penalty. Eisenman's just received a drive-through for not respecting the delta. I'm not too sure which driver came off or lost their wing. Chills is okay. Poppy's lost his wing. That's who's lost his wing. He's going round, just heading up to turn 27 right now, and that's brought out the virtual safety car, and that's completely changed things. That is why the United 199 pit. I do apologise. I think I'm getting a delayed notification, or maybe I'm just blind, ladies and gentlemen, but that's why the United 199 must have pit on lap 11. But it still didn't work out for him. He's all the way down into P9. Even so, that's mixed things up a bit. Nice job, mate, and Scruff are still going to retain their lead, though. It doesn't matter, because MOC's dived into the pits now. By the time he comes out, he's going to be behind Kevin Kearney. He may even be behind JDM. In fact, he will be. I'm not too sure what's happened. Forgive me for not noticing it, but MOC was in P3, I believe, or like P3, P4 beforehand. And now he's all the way down into P8 after that pit stop. Not too sure if everyone obviously pit during the virtual safety car. But yeah, I don't remember Gooders and Tristan. I definitely don't remember Gooders being in P6. He must have benefited from that VSC. So hats off to him. Yellow flag in sector 1, and it's Pudnick again. Unfortunately it is. He's doing donuts right now around turn 4. And that is unfortunate. Did he pit for a brand new wing? That's heartbreaking for Pudnick. But maybe there'll be a late safety car, ladies and gentlemen, and he'll rejoin the back of the pack. Unlike Azerbaijan, though, there's an entire pack, bar MF Underboss, there's an entire pack of drivers. Chills F1 for some reason. He's pit once again. He's gone on the mediums. It's an interesting move from Chills. But yeah, so regarding Pudnick, if there is a safety car, he's in for the chance at the race. But unless there's a safety car, if there isn't, I mean, he's 1 minute 20 seconds behind Chills, so that may be his race over. In fact, he's close to back markers. In fact, he has been lapped, in fact, because Tom Taylor's just behind him. He's in P14. And he's just pit again, actually, Tom Taylor. I believe he's pit twice. He has, for some reason. He went on mediums after losing his wing early on. He's gone on mediums again. Steph, just been overtaken by ALB into turn 27, but Steph don't care, because he's got the DRS on ALB, and he's just going to overtake him into turn 1. I'm not even going to watch it. Maybe we should watch it, I don't know. Yeah, but he was able to overtake, and in fact, Gooders, he's dived into the pits. That's why. Oh, that's heartbreaking for Gooders. He was all the way up into P5 at one point, or P6 maybe. And now he's pit for softs. That's an interesting move for Gooders there. He's on softs with 12 laps to go, and the softs normally only last about 10, 11 laps. But even so, it'll be interesting to see if he can make up some time. But right now, I'm not too sure who to watch. There's a second gap between Scuff and Nice Job, mate. There's a big gap between, obviously, the two front runners and then JKS. At the moment, I think the one to watch is Tristan. He's battled his way through the pack. Let's see if he can overtake MOC right now. He's on this incredibly long DRS-free straight, but he's eased off. He's played the smart move. He hasn't decided to go for an overtake into the second chicane. But that's kind of lost him quite a bit of time. But it doesn't matter. I doubt that Tristan's going to be going for the move into turn 27. In fact, he is. Not too sure why. MOC surely is just going to respond with DRS heading into turn 1. So Tristan's regained his P5 position, but not for long, as I predicted. Well, it's quite obvious. Oh dear. MOC has taken the P5 position back off him, heading into turn 1, and that means Tristan's going to have dirty air for the rest of this lap. And the same thing's going to happen between ALB and Steph, and Steph can't complain. He would like this to happen all race, in all honesty, with kind of regaining the position on ALB every time he reaches turn 1. We had a yellow flag in Sector 3. I'm not too sure who that was for. And in fact, ALB, I'm not too sure what happened there, ladies and gentlemen, but ALB's just overtaken Steph again into turn 1 and turn 2. What happened to Steph, I don't know. But he looked like he was clear of ALB. I don't know, it could have been a mega dive bomb from ALB. It's more likely to be a mistake on Steph's part. Maybe he got a snap of oversteer. But even so, that's ALB in P9. And he's pulled out the second. So wow, I do apologise for saying that ALB was making a mistake by overtaking Steph in at turn 27. Maybe it was part of the plan all along. That's ALB, well and truly clear of Steph. And in fact, Steph is going exceptionally slowly. Has he got wing damage? Infamous Aim is only 0.5 of a second behind him. In fact, no, that's why. Steph is AI. Not too sure why he had to go for some reason, but he's paused the game, and that's why, ladies and gentlemen. Excuse me once again. Steph is AI. He's lost 2 positions, but he ain't ghosted, and he ain't left the session, so he must have had to pause the game. I don't know, maybe he's had a nosebleed or something. But MOC and Tristan, side by side once again, heading into turn 1, with only 10 laps to go. His MOC, he takes the lead once again, and Poppy has done the exact same move as his Ferrari teammate, this time on the United 199. But I tell you what, nice job, mate. He pulled back the half a second needed to get back within DRS range of Scruff, but at quite the cost. He's only on 37% ERS, Scruff's on 56. Obviously, Scruff is kind of waiting to deploy all of that within the last few laps of this race. He's got quite a big advantage in that aspect on Nice Job Mate. So is any of Nice Job Mate's kind of pushes, is that in vain? I mean, he's plus 7 laps of 0.7 laps of fuel, but Scruff's on plus 2 laps of fuel. So Scruff's going to be quite significantly heavier than Nice Job Mate. So I don't know, it's kind of tied right now when it comes to speed, and when you reach a certain level of F1, it's all about resource management, and it was especially so last game when you could kind of change your fuel modes. But even now, it's all about resource management. These 50% races, you know, if you're battling for the win, like between Scruff and Nice Job Mate, there's no point in just, you know, constantly trying to overtake. You've got to play the long game, and I think that's what Scruff's doing right now. And he's got a lot of battery, whereas Nice Job Mate's kind of used a heck of a lot to try and overtake Scruff into turn 1. But yeah, like I was saying, all about resource management. It's all about having low fuel. It's all about having kind of a lot of ERS in your pocket. It's all about not using your tyres too much. But Poppy, 11.95, goes for a mega move on the United 199. I think that was Sue turn 2. Just swings out of nowhere and ends up taking the position off him. He's in P7 now. And ALB, not too sure why he's gone for a wing change. That's why. I was just about to say, he's on hard tyres. He's dived into the pits, but that's why. He's on the mediums now. He's got a fresh wing, and he's going to come out behind Boom Boy Fries. And probably behind it Kevin Kearney as well. It'll be interesting to see, actually, whether ALB can stay ahead of Kevin Kearney and Boom Boy Fries. And yeah, apologies, ladies and gentlemen. He has. Very good result for ALB. I think he only lost 1 or 2 positions. Even so, this is the battle we're all watching. Scruff, unable to overtake Nice Job Mate into turn 27. But the question is, ladies and gentlemen, was he even trying? I don't think so. He wants to overtake Nice Job Mate into turn 1. But Nice Job Mate has completely denied it. He was swerving like mad on the start-finish line, obviously to break the slipstream. And ladies and gentlemen, I think we've just seen the battle between Nice Job Mate and Scruff end right before our eyes. Scruff has just received a 3-second time penalty for multiple track infringements. And Nice Job Mate's strategy has changed completely. I mean, look how slow he is through Sector 1, ladies and gentlemen. We all know what Nice Job Mate's doing. He's playing it safe, hoping that he doesn't receive the 3-second time penalty. He may even let Scruff through, in all honesty, because that has ended Scruff's chances. What I mean is, unless Nice Job Mate picks up a penalty of his own, or Scruff pulls out 3 seconds on Nice Job Mate, which is unlikely, that is the race finished with Nice Job Mate taking home 26 points. But I don't quite want to... Oh dear, I don't quite want to write him off too early. And in fact, there's only going to be a 1 point difference as it stands right now between Nice Job Mate and Scruff. Because if Nice Job Mate gets 26 points, Scruff will get 22 points, but he'll get 24 points due to the fastest lap and 25 points due to his... Oh dear, there was a yellow flag thrown right there. In fact, it is. Boomboy Fries has just DNF'd, and Pudnick, yellow flag in Sector 1 and Sector 3. I'm unsure whether it's a virtual safety car. I don't think it is. Yeah, I don't think it is. But yeah, so Pudnick was kind of ghosted, and Boomboy Fries has just DNF'd. Not too sure what corner it was on. But yeah, crazy kind of result for Boomboy Fries. Crazy end. Very unexpected end to Boomboy Fries' race. Very unfortunate end to Boomboy Fries' race. I'm sure Pudnick right now will be screaming for a safety car. He's, I think, a couple of laps behind our leaders, but now it says that they're all on lap 18, so I'm not too sure, to be honest. But yeah, it's calmed down a little bit, as I was saying beforehand. Nice Job Mate. I think he's playing it slow and cautious, and he's trying not to pick himself up a time penalty. Right now, Dark Inferno has just said, investigation, driver sick boy, reason bad commentary. I'm not surprised, in all honesty. Even so, JKS and Tristan, there was a bit of a battle between the two drivers. Apparently no investigation necessary for the battle between JKS and Tristan. To be honest, I think that happened about half an hour ago, because I'm not checking my phone, I'm watching what's happening on screen. And it's Aiden who's dived into the pits for some reason. Not too sure if that was a fresh wing change or whether he was just changing tyres, but that's put Chills F1 all the way up into P14, and he doesn't have a lot of drivers around him right now, Chills. It's kind of pretty chill. 13-second gap to Steph. Be interesting to see what the gap to the leaders like. It kind of gives you a big indication as to just how much of a gap there is between the midfield and our two front runners. United 199 goes for an overtake on Poppy, and MOC goes for an overtake on Tristan. There's been a really tight-knit battle between the four drivers. MOC, all the way down to Poppy, they've kind of been battling with Tristan and United 199 for that kind of P5, P6 position. But apart from that, not much is happening. Tom Taylor going for the old strategy of letting your rival through around turn 27 and just eating them for dust on the start-finish straight. Very well played from Tom Taylor. He's in P9, P10 even right now. But Scruff, he's the Alfa Romeo driver we're all watching. He's battling with Nice Job Mate, but he's got that 3-second time penalty. Yeah, I'm going to mention that 3-second time penalty again. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But since there's not much drama going on right now, let's just kind of watch the battle between Scruff and Nice Job Mate unfold and listen to the brilliant sounds of their engines. Ladies and gentlemen, the one time that I decide to go, suddenly there's absolute drama between the two drivers, Scruff and Nice Job Mate. Scruff very deep on the brakes, does overtake Nice Job Mate into turn 1, but Nice Job Mate doesn't care. He gets the superior exit, brakes early, unlike Scruff who went extremely deep, and he's regained the lead, but it doesn't matter. Scruff's all over Nice Job Mate's tail throughout sector 1, and he's ended up overtaking him. First overtake and the last overtake you'll ever see heading into turn 13. Brilliant move from Nice Job Mate, says Ben Fleming in the chat. I think that was a brilliant move from Scruff. Ended up taking him through turn 13, and that is a DRS straight that you rarely see overtakes happen. Nice Job Mate, in all honesty. I don't think he's pushing 100%. But neither is Scruff. I mean, Scruff's almost got 70%. Yeah, he has. He's got 17% Urs right now. He's got 70% battery left, whilst Nice Job Mate is sitting on 25. I believe it was Nice Job Mate who had the less fuel. Yeah, exactly. Oh, hang on, side by side. Oh, there's a bit of contact, in fact, between Eisenman and Kevin Kearney. Dark Inferno. That's unfortunate for Eisenman. I believe that may have been getting his frustration out a little bit, but in an attempt to turn around, he's just clattered his wing completely, and he now has to dive into the pits. In fact, he's DNF'd on pit entry, and a virtual safety car has just been called out, which is very beneficial to the drivers, Scruff and Nice Job Mate. I'm sure they would love that, because this drive has been quite heated, and in fact it's very good for Nice Job Mate, because it only leaves about 4 laps for Scruff to pull out 3 seconds. Even so, ladies and gentlemen, Eisenman and VPG Aiden as well has just DNF. Still a virtual safety car. It's a shame that somebody else can't DNF and call out the full course safety car with 5 laps remaining. That would have been incredible. But yeah, unfortunately, that is a DNF for Eisenman after contact with Kevin Kearney throughout turn 27. And we do have Dark Inferno on the thingy, Ben Fleming as well. I'm not too sure what he's talking about in the chat. Slagging off MOC. Talking about how terrible of a result he's been having. What are you talking about? Then again, MOC, he qualified quite poorly, but he's pulled it back, isn't he? P5 for MOC, brilliant result. As I just checked my phone, and that may be Dark Inferno in the DMs, trying to figure out whether Eisenman will receive, or even Kevin Kearney will receive a penalty for not leaving Eisenman enough room through turn 27, but I think it was a bit of a dive bomb from Eisenman in my opinion. Even so, Nice Job Mate. He pulls out the P1 from Scruff in turn 1, and honestly, I think Scruff's kind of given up at this point. He's just waiting for Nice Job Mate to get a 3-second time penalty. I don't think it's happening, ladies and gentlemen. I think Nice Job Mate, look how slow he's going. Honestly, he's going so slow throughout Sector 1. He knows exactly what he's doing. That's allowed Scruff once again to make a move throughout turn 13. It's not enough. Nice Job Mate, he's hugged the inside. Scruff gets a much better exit, and Scruff does get the lead. But yeah, look how slow Nice Job was going throughout turn 1. In fact, all of these corners, look, he's a snail round them, especially that Sector 1. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's going incredibly slowly so that he doesn't get a 3-second time penalty, because he knows very well that Scruff is not going to be able to pull out the 3 seconds. But in all honesty, and I'm going to say this to Scruff directly, you've got 87% of Urs. Just start using it on the straight. As soon as you pull out 1 second away from Nice Job Mate, you're easily going to be able to pull out the 3 seconds. You know how slow Nice Job Mate goes throughout Sector 1, and I think he is. He's using a lot of his Urs right now on the start-finish line, and if Nice Job Mate can't get the overtake, unfortunately he does get the overtake, but that is my advice to Scruff. He is my driver, of course. But yeah, definitely use your Urs on the straights, and I mean, there's a big chance that you may be able to overtake Nice Job Mate. If you retain the lead, he's going to be a snail throughout Sector 1, and there's a chance that you'll be able to pull out the 3 seconds. Hang on a minute, side by side, 3 wide into turn 1 is Poppy, MOC and Tristan. But somehow, ladies and gentlemen, I think the Tier 1 drivers need to take a page out of these guys' books, because there's no contact, but it doesn't matter. They're 3 wide into turn 4, and he hits the back of Tristan. Poppy's forced to yield, and that's MOC who takes 6th place. But United 199, after all that drama, had been able to catch up to the 3 drivers. And remember, United 199 doesn't have a time penalty, but all 3 drivers do. And in fact, it's carnage. MOC, LFC's completely lost it, and it's a DNF for MOC with only 2.5 laps remaining. That's absolutely heartbreaking. It was on the exit of, I believe, turn 6, and he gave it too much acceleration. And on Poppy's POV, you would have been able to see that perfectly. He lost the rear, he was going to the left wall, he flinged his wheel to the right in order to catch it. And that just meant he overcompensated. MOC right into the wall. That's absolutely heartbreaking. And he's DNF'd, and that means He's gone from a P7 finish, and he's tumbling down the standings right now, ladies and gentlemen. And that means it will be a P16 finish for MOC LFC, which is only 4 points for the Ferrari driver. 5 points for the Ferrari driver. That is extremely unlucky for MOC. That is heartbreaking. And that also means that Poppy 1195 is going to extend his championship lead over MOC by a big margin, especially if Poppy can retain P7. The reason why I say that is because the United 199 hasn't got a time penalty. And in fact, let's quickly check the time penalties. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a 6-second time penalty for Poppy, Tristan and JDM. And that may even mean that, as we see Chills F1, he's a ghost, of course. He's a back marker. And I think that Scruff is kind of using my advice a bit. He's only on 44% ERS right now. He is trying to pull out the 3 seconds on Nice Job Mate, but he's only got 1.5 laps to go. It's not enough. And United 199, penalty free. Tristan gets 9-second time penalties. What I'm saying is, ladies and gentlemen, if the United 199 pushes, he may even be able to fit P4. I'm not too sure though. Even so, Scruff, yeah, it's all over for Scruff. He receives another time penalty. That's a 6-second time penalty now for Scruff. But it doesn't matter. It is a P2 finish for Scruff. And what a finish that is. MOC, no investigation necessary regarding MOC's DNF. And there will be an investigation after the race into the collision between Eisenman and Kevin only a few laps ago. But ladies and gentlemen, as they cross the line for the penultimate time and start the final lap, Scruff will probably be the first driver to cross the line, but it doesn't matter. He has a 6-second time penalty. Nice Job Mate knows it. He can even get a 3-second time penalty now. If I was Nice Job Mate, I would start pushing and trying to get fastest lap, but in fact it's quite a poor first sector for him. So he isn't going to be going for the fastest lap. Right now he's just cruising. He doesn't want to get a 3-second time penalty. Scruff is going to finish P2 with Nice Job Mate taking the top step of the podium in P1. All but guaranteed. JKS in P3 because JDM behind him has got a 3-second time penalty over JKS. Tristan's got a 3-second time penalty over JDM, and that means that Poppy's going to finish in P5 ahead of Tristan. But it's actually United 199 who's going to finish ahead of both drivers. United 199 is going to finish in P5, with Poppy in P6 and Tristan in P7. There's a massive gap between that midfield and then Gooders in P8. And Tom Taylor, there's no need for Tom Taylor to overtake Gooders. In fact, there is. I was about to say, Tom Taylor doesn't have a time penalty, but Gooders does. But on the final lap, Tom Taylor picks up a time penalty. This is the only battle we're going to witness this race, ladies and gentlemen. Tom Taylor goes for an incredible dive up the inside of Gooders, but he's got incredible oversteer because he's hugging on the inside of turn 13. That curb gives you mad oversteer. And that's allowed Gooders to regain the lead. But is it enough? Remember, you've got that massive back straight that they're on right now. No DRS. However, Gooders has got 51% ERS, but he's not using it, and that has allowed Tom Taylor to catch up significantly. He's not going to be going for an overtake into the second chicane, I hope. No, he isn't. But he's going to get a better exit. And, oh, actually, it's a poor exit from Tom Taylor, but it doesn't matter. Let's see whether he can overtake for P8 over Gooders. He's got the DRS, heading to turn 27, and he's run out of ERS, unfortunately. But, oh, he's gone for an incredible dive bomb on Gooders, but it doesn't matter. Gooders has gone for the cutback, and this is literally going to be Bottas v Ocon side by side to the line, and it is Gooders who takes it because he got DRS right at the very end there. And Tom Taylor, if he didn't get that time penalty on the final lap, he would be in P8, but you know what, it doesn't matter. Tom Taylor in P9, ALB in P10 with 18 seconds of time penalties, and Steph has wrapped up 21 seconds of time penalties. That's unlike Steph. Infamous Aim in P12, Kevin Kearney in P13. In fact, Infamous Aim will actually pip Steph due to his time penalty. In fact, that puts Infamous Aim in P10, ladies and gentlemen. Kevin Kearney will finish in P13, and Chills F1 and Pudnick have already crossed the line because they were lapped. I think that Pudnick may have even been lapped multiple times. But yeah, the reason why I'm not running down on our winners, because I kind of said who was going to win the Grand Prix quite a while ago. Nice job, mate. He does take the top step of the podium, An incredible result for Nice Job Mate, and what a battle we were treated to today, ladies and gentlemen. Nice Job Mate and Scruff were trading positions almost every single lap, but unfortunately it's those killer time penalties once again. This time the victim is Scruff. 6-second time penalties, and that's made him only manage P2, but he did get pole position, he did get the fastest lap, meaning he's still taken home 25 points. So that's a great result for Scruff. Fortunately, his Alfa Romeo teammate Tom Taylor finishes P9, but it's still a great result for Alfa Romeo overall. Remember, their championship rivals are Williams and Ferrari, and it's a terrible result for Ferrari, ladies and gentlemen. One driver DNFs, and the other driver, Poppy 1195, only finishes in P6. So, a final rundown of the standings. Nice Job Mate in P1. After a flawless race, side by side with Scruff, ultimately the time penalty free driver comes out on top. Scruff. 6-second time penalties, they bite him in the arse. Unfortunately, he finishes in P2, but great result from Scruff. Remember, he's only lost 1 point over Nice Job Mate, because, in fact, I'm telling fibs again, ladies and gentlemen, Scruff does not have the fastest lap, it's Kevin Kearney does. So, Scruff with 23 points, Nice Job Mate with 26, JKS Racing in P3, just in front of his Williams teammate, the United 199 in P4. I think Williams are actually the team who have come out on top this weekend, and I think that means that they're actually going to take control of the driver's standings, which is, or at least the constructor's standings. They're going to end up leading heading into Austria after the winter break. We have JDM in P5 in the AlphaTauri. Poppy 1195, our current championship leader, but I'm sure that will change after this race, sitting in P6. Tristan in P7, and Gooders, two Haas brothers side by side in P7 and P8. Tom Taylor in P9, and it was a great, bit of a heartbreaking battle once again with Tom Taylor. He crashed out, as he has unfortunately done every single race, but he kind of brought it back in the end with his pace, so credit to Tom Taylor. Infamous Aim in P10, ALB once again, the two Aston Martin drivers side by side, and it's the two Red Bull drivers who are side by side. Steph takes P12 and Kevin Kearney takes P13, but he does pip that fastest lap right at the very end. They have Chills F1 and Pudnick in P14 and 15. And this is when the DNFs happen. The most heartbreaking DNF I've seen in Tier 2. MOC LFC. After having a relatively poor qualifying result, he crawled his way back up to a very good position throughout the race, and he DNF'd with only a few laps to go. Aiden, on his VFL debut, raced extremely well, but unfortunately DNF'd, and it's P17 for him. Eisenman in P18, Boomboy Fries in P19, and it's MF Underboss in P20. Unfortunately, I think the session's glitched out, and that means that I'm going to be stuck in this endless loading screen, but it doesn't matter. It's time to invite people for the interviews, ladies and gentlemen, and what a race that was. Dark Inferno has received a penalty. Dark Inferno has given out a penalty, a live penalty to Chills F1, applied this very moment, a 5-second time penalty and 1 penalty point for ignoring blue flags. I think that's a little bit harsh, considering that ghosting was enabled and he didn't have to abide the blue flags. If ghosting was off, I would have understood, but I mean, it didn't really affect the drivers, but alas. Anyway, oh dear, we see the general chat. It's popping off right now. According to Dark, Dirty Air is still there. Very true. It's crazy. Anyway, naughty. Wow, Dark Inferno. What can I say? Interviews. Anyone? Even Dark says that maybe 5 seconds is a bit harsh. I don't think the 5 seconds are harsh, Dark. I mean, he was lapped. Maybe the penalty point is a bit harsh. Even so. Tristan. Tom Taylor. Fuck this man. Oh dear. I'm sure that Tom Taylor will hate to write private messages to me, because I always end up reading them out live for everyone to witness. Even so, the reason why we're kind of a bit chill right now is because we're waiting for the interviews. And the two drivers that are receiving an interview today are... Now, you ready for this? I don't think you are. The two Haas brothers of Tristan and Gooders, but I don't have Gooders on PSM. Wow, that is heartbreaking. Poor Gooders. I think that Tristan's going to have to invite him. Oh dear, poor Gooders. He's going to have to be invited by Tristan. Okay, sure. Have you made sure that your voice can be shared so that everyone can hear you? Oh, well, it'll be interesting to see. I'm just going to tab over to the... yeah, I'm just going to tab over to the kind of live stream right now. See if we can hear you.
I'm pretty sure it is.
Yes.
It should be.
Yeah, it is, yeah. So, I mean, where do I start, Tristan? I think qualifying is a good place. You're going to have to remind me, what position did you qualify?
7th.
Wow. So, pretty decent kind of result. But then kind of talk me through the race. It was a bit uneventful.
Well, I think it was really early on. I went up for an overtake on, I think it was United, and he tapped. He didn't give me enough space as I went for a move, and we kind of tapped.
Yeah.
I think I touched his rear end with my front, and
Yeah.
it caused us both to spin.
Yeah.
But apart from that, I had a pretty clean race. Me and Mock I think we had a strategy of using each other's DRS to try and close in on JDM. Sadly, it didn't work out, but
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
strategy
exactly.
was there. We weren't even speaking either. I think we just both made up the plan as we went.
Yeah, exactly. You kind of gang up on JDM, the AlphaTauri driver, and try and overtake him. I mean, yeah.
Because he was on hards as well. So we
exactly. Were you able to pip him in the end, though? Were you able to get him?
No, sadly not.
That is unfortunate.
He was like, I think it was a second and a half away when we crossed the line, but because I had 9 seconds of penalties, I shot right down to like, I think it was 7.
Yeah, that is unfortunate. I mean, you were caught in quite a tight-knit battle between...
There was like 4 or 5 of them at one point, just cars racing each other.
Yeah,
Quite
exactly.
intense.
Yeah, and you were side by side for a bit. I mean, with your teammate Gooders. Was there any contact, or were you kind of helping each other out?
When that happened, we were just letting each other. He let me through because he was on the old mediums. I was on the fresh mediums.
Yeah.
So he let me through on the DRS straight without a struggle. We were communicating, so.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
Pretty cleanly, and then he managed to help me out a little bit by holding up Mock. So.
Yeah, that's really good. I mean, it sounds like a brilliant kind of result for you. Haas right now in the drivers, or at least the constructors standings.
8th, I think.
Yeah, so.
But that was sure start.
Yeah, you are 8th right now, but yeah, you're right, exactly. That will definitely shoot you up the constructors standings. And just checking the drivers standings right now as well. You're in P9 and Gooders is in P18. So I'm sure it was a great result from the both of you, and it will shoot you right up the standings.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely great result. I mean, I think I'm going to have to pass it over to Gooders right now. First time he's been interviewed.
Yeah.
How? Yeah. I mean, how was the qualifying? How was the race? Kind of talk us through the highlights.
Qualifying, it could have gone a lot better than it did. I set one lap and it was okay. I knew where I went wrong. I could have got better, and then obviously I went for another one. It didn't go as well again. I got held up a little bit, so I thought I'd just bin it. Then I went for my last one, and it just wasn't a great lap. So I wasn't feeling too confident for the race, but came out, did what Tristan and Sky asked me to do. And I feel like P8, great result. I'm very, very, very happy with it.
Yeah. It looked like a great result. Like I said, you were kind of helping out as a team. Like Tristan said, you were kind of letting each other through and such. And that's really how you got the P8 result. It's not always about on-track speed necessarily. It's about kind of just the strategy and working together and stuff. And yeah, it seems like it's benefited you a lot. Like I said, you're down in P18, but with that result, honestly, you're going to be jumped so far up the standings.
We were so happy. I mean, I think for that last lap I was on, that was 12 lap softs. I had to pit early on my mediums because I got wing damage, and it wasn't feeling great around the track. So Tristan was like, "Just pit, it's fine." So I went in, came out I think about 15th, 14th or something, maybe a bit, a bit. But no, by the end I was on the 12 lap softs, and it was getting very shaky. As you saw, Tom Taylor was catching up, and it all went down to that final corner. So
yeah, exactly. And also that 3-second time penalty when Tom Taylor was behind you and he didn't have a 3-second, but you did. You must have really been worrying and hoping that he gets it.
Yeah, I was, well, for the race, I just thought, I was like, right, hopefully we just keep it clean, nothing much. And I didn't even notice he had the 3-second until that final straight. I was like, oh my God, he's got 3 seconds. So I literally whacked on the ERS and just burned it all the way up until the line. So it was so close, but
fair play. Yeah, it sounds like a great result and kind of well fought. And it's one of you haven't been here too often. How many races have you raced in VFL?
So I had my first race in Azerbaijan for McLaren as a reserve, and then signed for Haas the next week, and that was at Monza. But I didn't. I got. It was weird. Eisenman spun into a car, which then hit me, and I DNF'd from that. So I didn't get to race much around Monza, but so this would be my probably second race in. Technical. It was good.
It sounds like a brilliant result for your second proper race, and be proud of it. It's a great result.
Yeah.
I'm going to hand it over to ALB now, our final interviewee for the day.
Hello.
I mean, what kind of happened? Unfortunately, I wasn't able to follow you that much during the race, so kind of talk us through your highlights.
Right, so first couple of laps were calm until first safety car, or virtual safety car. I had a few scrapes with the wall, so I had to pit early on my mediums. I went onto a set of hards, and then I was sat in P9, I think, for like a good few number of laps.
Yeah.
And then it all sort of went downhill after I had another contact with the wall.
Yeah.
So I come out P11, P10, P11, holding that strong, and then started having a battle with Steph for a few laps, which was good battle while it lasted.
Yeah.
And then coming to the end, it sort of fell off, and it was just, I was with my teammate, we were just having a little battle between ourselves, and then, it just sort of ended. But a good result for the team. It's going to knock us down a place in constructors, but it's looking a little stronger.
Yeah, exactly. Sounds like a pretty tough battle between you and Infamous Aim as well. Like I said, it wasn't the best kind of results for you both. You ended up finishing P11. Infamous Aim finished P10. And regarding the kind of standings as a team, if my phone actually decides to load, there we go. You're actually P4 in the constructors' standings, but Mercedes is only 4 points behind you, and you just had a brilliant win from Nice Job, mate. So I think Mercedes may have just pipped you on that, so you may be down in P5 right now. But
I mean, there's definitely a comeback that's definitely going to be coming around soon. So just hoping for that. Get better after the break and move on.
Yeah, it sounds unfortunate, really, especially when you get wing damage early on, but it sounds like you recovered very well. And it's definitely a kind of a result to be proud of, and it sounds brilliant.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm going to have to call it a day there for the interviews as I leave the chat and leave ALB all on his own. Oh dear. Even so, ladies and gentlemen, once again, as always, thank you so much for tuning in for another Virtual Formula League stream. That was it. Round 5, Saudi Arabia for Tier 2. Join us, not next week, but in quite a few weeks. We're going on a long Christmas break, and in January, we'll see you once again for the Austrian Grand Prix. But the first race will be on Thursday, as always, the Tier 1. Me and PJ taking control of the commentary. I mean, what a race that was. We had heartbreak. We had an incredible battle between two championship rivals. And, I mean, it ended quite well. So I'm going to end this stream. We've been commentating for almost an hour and a half. I'll see you all in the new year. Goodbye.